Good day everyone, I am Alreen Brix Timbal and I will be discussing the Filipino national artists for literature. This report generally delves into the lives and contributions of remarkable literary figures who have earned this esteemed title, tracing their impact on the nation's cultural and artistic heritage. National Artist for Literature is the highest national recognition given to Filipino writers who made significant contributions to the development of Philippine literature. The first national artist under literature is the famous Amado V. Hernandez. He was born in Hagonoy, Bulacan and lived in 1903 to 1970. He received the National Artist for Literature Award in 1973. He was a poet, playwright, and novelist. He practiced committed art and he was known as the manunulat ng manggagawa. In his view, the function of a writer is to act as the conscience of the human spirit in the face of iniquity and oppression. His works talk about the struggles of Filipino laborers' works, Isang Lipang Langit, Luha ng Buwaya, Mga Ibong Mandaragit, first Filipino socio-political novel that exposed the ills of the society. The second prolific writer for this award is Jose Garcia Villa. He was born in Singalong, Manila. He lived from 1908 to 1997. He was the National Artist for Literature in 1973. He is most famous as the Viglion. He was also known as the comma poet. He was the finest contemporary poet regardless of race and language. He introduced the reversal consonants and comma poems. First, a poem must be magical, then musical as a seagull, and it must hold as free as well. His works include Footnote to Youth, Many Voices, Have Come, I'm Here, and The Anchored Angel. Third on the list is Nick Joaquin. He was born in Paco, Manila. He lived from 1917 to 2004. He obtained the National Artist for Literature Award in 1976. He was the most distinguished Filipino writer in English writing, known as Quijano de Manila. His contribution was the exploration of the Philippine colonial past under Spain and his probinginto the psychological of social danger as seen by the young. He has written plays, novels, poems, short stories, essays, reportage, and journalism. His works include The Woman Who Had Two Navels, Ballad of the Five Battles, Rizal in Saga, Almanac for Manilenos, Cave and Shadows, about the martial law time, Summer Solstice. The fourth renowned artist is Carlos P. Romulo. He came from Intramuros, Manila, and lived from 1899 to 1985. He received the National Artist for Literature Award in 1982. His career spanned 50 years of public service as educator, soldier, university president, journalist, and diplomat. He was the first Asian president of UN General Assembly and the Philippine ambassador to US. He was a reporter at 16, newspaper editor at 20, and publisher at 32. His broadcasts during the Japanese colonization was known as the Voice of Freedom. Moreover, he was the only Asian to win Pulitzer Prize for Journalism for a series of articles predicting the outbreak of World War II. Another awardee under this category is Francisco Arceliana. He was born and raised in Santa Cruz, Manila, and lived from 1916 to 2002. He obtained the National Artist for Literature Award in 1990. He was a writer, poet, essayist, critic, journalist, and a teacher. He was one of the most important progenitors of the modern Filipino short story in English. He pioneered the development of short story as a lyrical prose poetic form. His works include the following: Poetry and Politics, The State of Original Writing in English and Philippines Today, The Other Woman, To Touch You and I Touched Her, Frankie, The Man Who Would Be Poem, Death in a Factory, Lina, and A Clown Remembers. Next on the list is the popular NVM or Nestor Vicente Madali Gonzalez. He was from Romblon, Romblon. He was born in 1915 and died in 1999. He got the National Artist for Literature Award in 1997. He was a Filipino novelist, short story writer, essayist, and a poet. He distinctively wrote of the Filipino life and of the Filipino in the world. He said there is no such thing as children's literature. Another skilled writer under this category is Levi Celerio, who came from Tondo, Manila. He lived from 1910 to 2002. He received the National Artist for Literature in 1997. He was a prolific lyricist and a composer for decades. He effortlessly translated, rewrote anew the lyrics to traditional melodies, O Maliwanag na Buwan in Ilocos, Ako Ay May Singsing in Pampango, at Alibangbang in Visaya. He made it to Guinness Book of World Records as the only person to make music using leaf. He wrote 4,000 songs, and he contributed in enriching Philippine music. Another remarkable artist in this category is Edith Tiempo, who came from Bayombong, Nueva Vizcaya. She lived from 1919 to 2011. She received the National Artist for Literature in 1999. She was widely acknowledged as the mother of Philippine literature. Moreover, she was a poet, fictionist, a teacher, and a literary critic. Her works are characterized by a remarkable fusion of style and substance, of craftsmanship and insight. Her poems, The Little Marmoset and Bonsai, are intricate verbal transfigurations of significant experiences. She founded and directed Silima National Writers Workshop in Dumaguete City, which produced some of the country's best writers. Further on the list of significant writers of our country is F. Chanel Jose, who is currently residing in Rosales, Pangasinan from 1924 up to present. He received the National Artist for Literature in 2001. His writings since the late 60s, when taken collectively, can be described as epic. His works reflect the consistent espousal of the aspirations of Filipinos, national sovereignty, and social justice. His works were translated into various languages. His works include Rosales Saga, The Pretenders, Tree My Brother, My Executioner, Mass, Boon, captures Philippine history while simultaneously narrating the lives of generations of Samsons, whose personal lives intertwine with the social struggles of the nation. He was the founder of the Philippine chapter of the international organization PEN, poets, playwright, essayists, and novelists. Another talented writer is Virgilio Almario, who is currently living in San Miguel, Bulacan from 1944 up to present. He received the National Artist for Literature Award in 2003. He was also known as Rio Alma. Moreover, he was a poet, literary historian, critic who has revived and reinvented traditional poetic forms. In 34 years, he published 12 books of poetry. His works reflected his often severe examination of the cell and the society. He founded Lira, or Linangan sa Imahen, Retorika at Anyo, and GAT, Galyan sa Arte at Tula. Additionally, he put a face to the Filipino writer in the country, one strong face determinedly wielding a pen into untruth, hypocrisy, and injustice. Another ingenious writer on the list is Alejandro R. Roses, who was born in Manila and lived from 1924 to 2011. He obtained the National Artist for Literature Award in 2003. He was a short story writer and an essayist. He was the country's best writer of comic short stories. He wrote innumerable newspaper columns that focused on the neglected aspects of the Filipino cultural heritage. His works were published in international magazines. He brought to attention the aesthetics of the country's fiestas. He was instrumental in popularizing several local fiestas like Moriones and Ati-Atihan. He changed the Independence Day from July 4 to June 12. He said, "You cannot be a great writer. First, you have to be a great person." Another creative writer on the list is Dr. Bienvenido Lambera, who was born and raised in Lipa, Batangas from 1932 up to present. He obtained the National Artist for Literature in 2006. He was a poet, librettist, and a scholar. He introduced to Tagalog literature what is known as bagay poetry, a landmark aesthetic tendency that has helped to change the vernacular poetic tradition. His works include the following: Likhang Dila, Likhang Diwa, Balaybay, Mga Tulang Lunot at Manibalang, Sa Sariling Bayan, Apat na Dulang May Musika, Agonias sa Hacienda Luisita, Tales of the Manuvo, and Ramahari. Next significant author in this category is Lazaro Francisco, who came from Orani, Bataan. He lived from 1898 to 1980. He received the National Artist for Literature Award in 2009. He developed a social realist tradition in Philippine fiction. His novels embodied the author's commitment to nationalism. Moreover, his novels exposed the evils of the tenancy system, exploitation of farmers by unscrupulous landlords, and foreign domination. His pen dignifies the Filipino and accents all the positives about the Filipino way of life. He was known as the master of Tagalog novel. Last but definitely not the least great author on the list is Cirilo F. Bautista, who was born and raised in Sampaloc, Manila, and lived from 1941 to 2018. He was a poet, fictionist, and essayist with exceptional achievements and significant contributions to the development of the country's literary arts. He held regular funded and unfunded workshops throughout the country to bring poetry and fiction closer to people who otherwise would not have the opportunity to develop their creative talent. He was a teacher of literature and realized that classroom is an important training ground for Filipino writers. The National Artists for Literature, spanning different eras and styles, have collectively enriched Philippine literature, embodying a profound commitment to societal issues, cultural heritage, and artistic excellence. Through their words, they have become enduring voices, shaping nations' literary identity and inspiring generations to come. Once again, I am Alreen Brix de Timbal, and I hope you have learned something from my report. Thank you.